What's up, old school homies? Let's talk about which RC10s are most collectible. I've had a few RC10s, and RC10 could actually mean a few different things. RC, remote control, 10, 10 scale. But there's differences. There's an on-road car, there's an off-road buggy, there's an off-road truck. There's even a 12 scale on-road car. I had that one, and it was graphite chassis. Those were actually before the RC10. The 12L came out before the 10L, and it came out before the RC10 buggy or the truck or anything. But they're really not the most collectible because I would say remote control cars were most popular in the 80s, and the 12L came out in 78. It won world championships. I actually got one from a friend without even knowing that they existed, and when I drove it I was like, wow, this is ahead of its time. It was cooler than all the other cars that I had driven, and it was super lightweight. It was all just balanced really perfect and aerodynamic. It was really just too fast to even drive with a stock motor. And later on they came out with the 10L after the 12L, which looks a lot like this. This is a Bowlink, which is a sort of a rip-off of a 10L, and the 10L would be a white fiberglass. This is a black fiberglass. The problem why these aren't collectible is that the classes aren't currently raced very many places. Like, we used to race these on big oval tracks or parking lots. There's hardly any parking lot races or on-road tracks. Most of the tracks are off-road. So these aren't really popular even with my generation from the 80s. These were kind of phased out before, like by the time I was a kid, we had the HPI RS4, and that thing had belt-driven graphite chassis. It shredded my Tamiya. It was all gear-driven and made of plastic. And I would say off-road cars were more popular back then, and they still are. They've pretty much become the gold standard in collectability in the buggy form. I don't see too many people collecting trucks like they're that big of a deal. The buggy is more like a model. It looks more like a realistic vehicle. As where the truck, the wheels are sticking super far out, and for that reason they're just not as much of a collectible model. Now the RC10 came out in '84 in the buggy with the gold pan chassis, and I would say the B3, it went RC10, RC10 B2, and then there was a T2. There was also a Nitro, which was called the I never had one of those, but it was called the I never changed that shit either. The GT. The RC10 GT was actually just a truck. There wasn't like a gas buggy. But that truck, it just shredded for so many years. They never really changed it too much. And there was a B2, there was a T2, there was a B3, there was a T3, there's a B4, there's a T4, the B5 is a T5, there's a B6, there's a T6. After B3, they still make the B4, so this is kind of the last collectible one.